hey guys, didn't see you there. Hello FHS and welcome to the Environmental Show. I am your host, Jake Stauber. We have a very special guest here tonight. His name is Peter Narai, an expert in the field of the environment, and he's going to be telling us about the threat of climate change to our economy, the environment, and our health. Please join me in welcoming Peter Narai. We will also be having Grant Miller, a very corrupt businessman. Welcome to the show. Let's get right into it. Peter, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Hi, I'm an environmental scientist and I graduated from Stanford. Go trees. And I've been studying the harmful effects of coal production on the environment.
Grant Miller, please tell me a little about yourself and how you run your corrupt business.
Well, I'm the CEO over at Grunt Corp. No big deal. It's a billion-dollar coal business that, of course, I inherited from my father, who's really rich. And we have hundreds of factories in America and around the globe, especially in Mexico.
Well there, sir. According to the book Eyes Wide Open by Paul Fleischman, the greedy and self-centered attitudes of CEOs has led to many harmful choices affecting the environment. What has Grunt Corp done to help the environment?
Well, Grunt Corp has always followed the rules and regulations regarding pollutants in the government. But of course, I don't spend any more than I have to. I'm all about saving that money, you know what I mean?
So Peter, my friend, what are your thoughts on this?
Even when companies like Grunt Corp follow regulation, harmful pollutants are still produced. According to the Union of Concerned Scientists, coal plants are responsible for more than half of the U.S. human-caused emissions of mercury, a toxic heavy metal that causes brain damage and heart problems. Just 1/70th of a teaspoon of mercury deposited on a 25-acre scale lake can make the fish unsafe to eat.
Are you hearing what I'm hearing? Thanks for the great primary source, Peter, because this is something very unethical. So, Grunt, does your company pay anything for the cost of pollution? For example, helping clean lakes of mercury?
Don't be silly. Of course I don't pay anything. I'm all about the money, man. It's not like it's required by law or anything to pay for pollution unless you go over the legal limit. Of course I'm only going to meet the bare minimum. It's too much money to pay for the cleaning of pollutants, even if we are responsible for them. I mean, why should I care about your stupid kids' mercury poisoning, huh?
Well, it seems like we got ourselves a bit of a dilemma here. What are your thoughts, Peter?
Well, he is right. It is very expensive to pay for pollution. In fact, according to the Time magazine, air pollution costs the global economy $225 billion annually. But this is very unethical and morally wrong. This means we as taxpayers have to pay more. And who in the right mind would not care about a dying kid or the poisoned animals because this is their main source of water? Making someone pay for what you cause is not ethical, and this is the choice many companies like Grunt Corp make by not paying for the pollution they cause.
Wow, Peter, you bring up some very interesting points revolving around ethics. So, where are your other factories in the world, Grant?
Well, over here at Grunt Corp, we have hundreds of factories all over the world. But our most important factories, besides in the US of A, are in Mexico.
So, Grant, hundreds of factories besides the U.S. in Mexico? Why is that?
Well, over in Mexico, they don't have as many pollution laws, so there aren't as many annoying regulations, so I can produce more coal without the pesky government getting in my way. I mean, to be honest, I don't really care what happens there. Just as long as the air I breathe is clean, I don't really care what happens to the people. I mean, the more money I make, the better.
See, the problem with you and many companies and CEOs like yourself is your attitude. And your attitude is, as long as it does not affect you, like the water supply, the animals, the people, I could go on forever. You just don't care at all and will just pollute the environment. You just care for yourself, man.
Well, that may be true, but people all over are contributing to the pollution of the world. I mean, even the government doesn't do anything about it. Maybe they should have stricter regulations. That's not my fault. I'm just here to make money.
Well, Grant, the problem is coal is a minority in producing electricity in the U.S., and it is the leading emissions polluter in the U.S., so the correlation is very bad there. And from what you stated is you're not polluting the environment as much. There's people out here and there, throwing a paper bag into the environment. It's nowhere comparable to the emissions that are being put into the environment by you. Again, according to the book Eyes Wide Open, it states that money talks, they say. In politics, it shouts. American election campaigns are long and waged mainly with TV ads, which are very expensive. This requires candidates to raise millions, which leads them to the corporations that can afford the big donations needed to buy those ads. In return, business interests gain unprecedented influence on policies. So this is where the corruption comes in with the government and your corporations, because then they can just make the policies that help them the most and help them to make the most money and not get regulated as much for the emissions that they produce.
Wow. Talk about a mic drop, Peter. Well, that's a wrap, folks. Overall, we can see how big of an impact these big corporations have on the environment due to the minimal ethical concern and their attitudes on the environment, where they have self-drive for money and personal success. This needs to be changed, and it starts with you.